Dave C with an update from Blenheim Court, a kind of follow-up to the films I made in 2012 and 2017. First of all, I must explain how this video came about. A few months ago we had a strange bird in our grounds. I think it's up there. Not strange really, just different. One we've never ever seen before. And it just made me think of all the wildlife we've encountered over the years here at Blenheim. And how things have changed since the wife became manager in 1997. That's a long time ago. But as there were gardener and cleaner contractors, I started a bit later in 1999. Now we retired just before the COVID shambles, but we still live here as tenants, so we're still very aware of everything that's going on around us. Some things have obviously changed, but let's kick off with these little beauties, our swallows, which were nesting up in our long front porch entrance, up there. Then after a few years the magpies raided the nest a couple of times and we never saw them again. Another of our first memories was waking up in the middle of the night by something screeching. Oh no, not this! Help! Oh, you gotta wait for this. And looking out we saw a fox. What a lovely looking animal. And as I became resident gardener, I obviously got to know every nook and cranny in the grounds and soon sussed out where their den was. Hence this video from an upstairs flat. But they did roam our area, this area and our grounds in particular, up to about 5 years ago, then seemed to just disappear. But I did hear one crying locally up the road about 2 years ago, but then nothing until a few weeks ago. At 4 in the morning, right outside here, between us and the nature park. So whether that's a fleeting visit or whether they've returned, we shall see. Another fond memory from the early days was hedgehogs, who came to drink at our pond, which I had in those days. No pond now, oh that's long gone. But the hedgehogs population has also dwindled. In fact, we haven't seen one since the cold spring, as shown here when my trail cam picked one up. Makes a change, it's usually a big rat that triggers it. There it goes, and as we're surrounded by a large nature park, I think that was March 23, but one was seen in the grounds a few nights this summer, and consequently we saw it wandering around our garden one evening, as seen here. But there can't be many around. We used to see them every night in the grounds about 10 o'clock at night. And of course on the side of the busy road out here now, every now and then. I know that's very sad when that happens, but it just goes to show how the numbers have shrunk. Now remember the bird on the roof at the beginning? Well, this is not the strange bird I was on about. Oh no, these are, or rather were, our pheasants. Absolutely beautiful birds, and the delicate way they move. I could seriously watch them all day. This one was seeing its reflection, we think, in the door. And then here he is again doing what I call his dancing cry, probably calling for his mate. We did actually have 2 pairs. One unlucky bird flew into a flat window round the back and sadly passed away. I just remembered, being the gardener, I did actually dig a beautiful pheasant up, the male one, which the foxes had buried in our residence raised bed one year, for a future meal I presume. I don't seem to have a photo of the female pheasants. They don't seem to have the long tail and they're a bit plain compared to us males, of course. Of course. Who said that? Now this is one of our resident wood pigeons. We seem to have loads of them, and I believe they nest about 3 times a year. They're always at it, pardon the expression. Look at these 2. And they don't half leave some piles of you-know-what all over the lawn, and noisy as well. But beautiful birds though. Now this, I think, is a missel thrush, whilst this, according to Google Lens, is a song thrush. Can't quite tell what thrush this one is, banging hell out of a snail, but it's really enjoying itself. Now here's one of our female blackbirds, and the male blackbird was its very shiny black plumage and yellow beak. And this is a baby blackbird. Here are 2 bullfinches. Always seem to have to zoom into a distant tree to catch them, never in our garden. Beautiful colours though. Now we've a goldfinch, This one's a greenfinch. And a blue tit taking a bath. And these blue tits feeding their chicks. We did actually have to take it down later as wasps, wasps, decided to build a nest inside it. This was taken this year when the wrens were we had the wrens nest in our hedge. They were in and out with blue tits as well, and we also had robins that seemed to be in and out all the time. They all seemed to carry stuff in for the nest building and then worms in the mouths for feeding. So now they all seem to be nested so closely we haven't worked it out. But from April to July it was hectic to say the least. Now one of our favourites, one of our robins, who are here all year round. Now here's a cutie, one of our grey squirrels, having the time of its life there. One was on our fence. Whether they are the same ones, anybody's guess, because we only ever see one at once. We did actually have one in our kitchen last year. We heard all the blinds going, but it wasn't windy, so the wife looked out, went to look in the kitchen. One was hanging on the inside of our blinds, but he soon turned and shot back out. So cute. Beautiful markings on this starling having a snack, and as we're not far from the coast, a majestic seagull. And here's a seagull doing a dance, or rather treading away to get some worms up. And another popular bird round here, the magpie. Lovely looking birds, but they're thieving little so-and-sos. Funny the way they hop around, and here's one hopping up the roof. We do have quite a few crows. Here's one trying to race me, and I recollect seeing a few jackdaws, the ones with the hood, but I never got a picture of them for some reason. But remember the strange bird I was on about at the beginning? Well, it's here at last. It's a very beautiful marked bird as well. It's apparently a jay. Now this is the only one we've ever seen until March this year. We saw one last month, but where it's coming from I really couldn't tell you. It's very local, it must be, I don't know, but there you go. Now I've covered most of the wildlife from around here, but it's not just birds and animals. Just take a look at these. Not butterflies. The skies might give you a clue. But I very rarely find a butterfly still. But moths, they just go to sleep near a light just outside. So they're very easy to photograph. Now this is a barred sallow, a scalloped hazel moth, a brimstone moth, a pale tussock, a domestic silk moth, a bee moth, now a ghost moth, and a white ermine moth, and the last one, a tiny morning glory plume or tea moth, and at last but not least, definitely not least, a popular hawk moth, a real biggie of a moth. I have never in my life ever seen a moth of this size. It may be popular, but my first sighting, it was on the bottom of our garden gate for 2 days. One hell of a thing. To be honest, it really fascinated me. Also, this spider. No, it's not apparently. It's a harvest man. These are crane flies or daddy long legs. And this is the Asian version of the ladybird. More orange, not like our native one, the deeper red one, which I haven't actually seen for ages. And this apparently is a western conifer seed bug. 2 insects I photographed years and years ago. One of them was this hawthorn shield bug, which if you've watched my channel before, I turned it into a short Halloween clip, but I was a bit late putting it up, so it only did about 100 views. Sorry if I gave you a fright early on, by the way. This had some beautiful markings as well, but I have seen a few similar shield shaped insects about. There's one creeping up our kitchen window the other day. Also a devil's coach horse beetle which I photographed in 2012 just outside our boiler house. It's a black scorpion type beetle with its tail pointing up. And this was actually on the wall as I walked into our bin room. Google Lens says it's a false black widow. What? It's not poisonous, it says. I don't think I'd fancy meeting it on a dark night though. Now I've always thought of slugs and snails as the arch enemy of gardeners. But we were sat in our lounge one evening when I noticed a snail heading towards the edge of the patio window. So I grabbed my camera, filmed this next clip, soundtrack on, and hey presto, our snail is a movie star! Wow! After that fast-paced dynamic movie, I must mention the views I keep using of our grounds, including some beautiful skies, and these were our Christmas, I think it was 2014 corridors, taken when we looked after Blenheim Palace. Sorry, that's what people used to call it, Blenheim Palace. That gives you a clue. So it's only fair to show it as in the title, Then and Now. But don't forget, we were resident here 24/7. But now, like everywhere else, staff are only part-time, so things are bound to be different. But I must say, and I'm unanimous in this, thank you Mrs Slocum, we've had 20 odd years with some wonderful residents and brilliant contractors. But now, retired, we're here, but we're not here, if you get me meaning. But as I said in one of the films, Blenheim Court is still a lovely place to call home. A few things I must add. When we came here in 1997, from our bay window we used to see a stream of bats each day at dusk. Came around from flat 22 upstairs, you can see it from the lounge. Upstairs at the front, left over the lift tower and down past flat 17 and then past ours. And away. Where they went, I don't know. This occurred most nights and then stopped after a few years. We thought they were living in the lift towers, so I went up there and had a look with no sign of them whatsoever, clean as a whistle. So what kind of bats or where they came from, we never found out. Some said they lived in trees and some said they lived in buildings, so I don't know. We don't know what kind they were. No pictures of them either. I wasn't into photography, plus we'd no computer in those days. Also, the other day the wife shouted. She thought that this tiny bird on our step had flown into something and stunned itself, or it was freezing because it was quite cold outside. And as it never moved, we thought it couldn't fly either. So after a few minutes, I Google lensed it as well through the patio doors, through the patio windows. It never moved at all. So after a few minutes, I went round in the snow. Took one look at me. Its adrenaline must have kicked in. It flew straight up into a tree. Which was good, so I do hope it's okay. I even Google lensed it and it was a goldcrest, the UK's smallest bird apparently. I thought the wren was the smallest. Now this is apparently a long-tailed tit. To be honest, I didn't realise there were so many different kinds of tits. Pardon the expression, and finches. This one seemed very eager to say hello or come in. Apologies, I nearly forgot, as I can't find any photos of them. Rabbits, that is. They were on the bank towards the horseman's allotment, at the top of this photo underneath, which is all overgrown now. And were in our grounds as well when we first arrived, but they disappeared just after the foxes arrived. Horses were kept in the nature park also, and they did a hell of a good job of keeping it clear, but it's all obviously overgrown now since they went. Also, there's a new danger. If you look closely, we now have solar lights up the path, either side of the path, which may look like landing lights from an aircraft as we're right on the flight path to Newcastle Airport. Only joking. The thing is, we did really have a real red helicopter land in front across the road on the green around the year 2000. He ran out of fuel, so the police had to assist him with fuel from the airport. I remember it caused quite a stir. But now, just before I leave you, here's another one of our wildlife stars, and one of my favourite birds, to be honest. We used to see them hovering when we came here at first all those years ago, but I haven't seen one since the 19th of April, just gone this year, when I realised what it was, all ready to swoop down and pick a vole or a mouse up or whatever. Dashed in, got my camera, went back out, it was no longer there. Luckily someone shouted, "It's in the tree, it's in that tree." So I managed to just snap it before it took off, never to be seen again. So I love you and leave you, and I hope you enjoy my tiny little bit of video of this absolutely beautiful. Have you worked it out what it is yet? No? First of all, I thought it was a sparrowhawk, but I'm certain it's a kestrel. If I am wrong, I know someone will put me right, I'm sure. But please subscribe, give us a like or comment down below, and if you think I've missed anything, please, I'd love to hear from you. And thanks again for watching.